Hi, welcome back to Mind the Word, a space where everyone is welcome to share their experiences about language. You want to join me? Grab yourself a cup of tea and let's get started. Today we're going to talk about 5 reasons why you should learn another language. Tip number 1, it broadens your world perspective. Okay, so something that is very important to do is to get out of your comfort zone. Learning a language really does that for you. So it really puts you on somebody else's shoes and it makes you feel a lot of different experiences that you would never unless you put yourself in that situation. So definitely just go for it. It's another way to understand how other people see the world, how other people live their daily situations, and it connects you to a lot more people. All right, tip number 2, travel. Travel is, for me, like a circle reason to learn a language. First of all, when you travel, you're more exposed to other people, to other traditions, other situations, other countries, other nature, other completely different things. And it really motivates you to want to learn a different language because in some cases it's the only way to actually communicate with other people. So, you know, I'm not a native English speaker, but this is something that really was one of my main push to really want to learn English. When I was learning the language and I realized that I could speak to pretty much anyone in the world because either they weren't, native speakers, but they were learning English and they were able to communicate in a different language, it really made me meet so many interesting people. And even today, if it hadn't been for the English language, I wouldn't have met all the wonderful people that are in my life today. So definitely that's something to do. And also something that is very cool is that even you don't travel the world first, even if you decide to learn a language while you're still in your comfort zone, in your main country, in your land, it really motivates you to put yourself in different situations. Like, okay, so I'm learning Spanish, so I want to go to South America. And if you know that you can go there and be more confident with yourself and just be able to communicate in a hard situation, that's definitely going to also motivate you to travel. And once you travel, it's a spiral. It's gonna keep growing. It's gonna keep giving you strength. Tip number 3, why you should learn another language, and this is one of my favorites. It really puts you at a whole different level on understanding about the world. So learning a language, it's something that really shapes your brain. And I'm going to make a note here about this researcher who has a really nice TED Talk on YouTube that is called How the Language You Speak Shapes the Way your mind works, or like your brain functions. And it really is true. When you speak different languages, you're able to see how much language shapes our mentality and how much that affects our culture. So for instance, in Spanish, we use, gender for just objects and normal words in the environment. So for instance, a table will be feminine, but the ceiling will be masculine, whereas you don't have that in English. Or in other languages, you have also sort of like a gender construction, but not related to masculine or feminine. So that's definitely very interesting. Another thing that I really like, and I love to give this example to my students, is just even vocabulary, words that only exist in certain languages because it's part of the culture, but it doesn't exist in others. For instance, the word sobremesa in Spanish, that really means this very special moment after you have lunch, you have a really long meal with your family, with your friends, and you just spend time over the table. Literally means kind of on the table or at the table, while you're just not eating, you're maybe drinking some coffee or some liqueurs or something like that, and you're just spending that time on comforting yourself with your family and with the nice food that you just had. So definitely something worth learning. Reason number 4, it really opens your possibility to meet a lot more people, and this is related to what I was saying before as well. I've met so many people by being able to speak English fluently or even other languages, and it really helps you to be exposed to a whole different network that is really going to coach you on learning new things, learning new traditions, exploring yourself, exploring things of different countries and different societies. So it's really, really nice to have that chance and to really connect to all the people that you would have never done so if you hadn't learned another language. So that's definitely really worth trying. This is tip number 5. Learning another language or being able to speak another language, it really makes you desirable in a work environment or like at work in general. This is something that most of us are aware of, but we don't really understand the power of it. So of course, learning another language or knowing another language, it really makes you look good on paper. So it's another qualification and another skill that you have. But it definitely also makes you interesting. And this is not only related to the work environment, but it definitely helps there. And that means that, for instance, whenever I'm here in the Netherlands, the country where I live, people ask me where I come from, and then I share their story, my story, and then people ask me questions about that, and then people recognize my efforts and my, leaving my comfort zone and being in a whole different situation and just, working hard for things. So that really gives you that power that people are going to find interesting, and definitely a lot of really fun and interesting stories. But also, if you think about, you can become that one person in the office who speaks Chinese or Arabic or Serbian, and maybe you're not working with companies that are from those countries, but maybe you have a client sometime where, they come from that country, and your company is really going to appreciate the fact that you had that skill. And I, for that reason, really encourage you to do it. So this is all for today. I'm gonna finish my cup of tea because it's getting a bit cold. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for listening, and click subscribe.